I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be why women are indecisive with you. I've got an email here from a viewer, and it's a good one because he brings up a lot of little things that he's doing, because women, in essence, will reflect back to you how you're showing up. So before we get into it, I got a quote I'd like to share with you. It says, "Women love men who can make a decision. Masculine energy is about purpose, drive, mission, succeeding, accomplishing, breaking through barriers, achieving goals, etc. Women love when a man knows what he wants and goes for it. When he hesitates, acts unsure of himself, is fearful, or expects his woman to make decisions and be the leader, she will become indecisive, unsure, and often bitchy. Why? She wants his strength, decisiveness, fearlessness, and masculinity, but not for him to act like a feminine woman. If a man is indecisive and unsure, his woman will become unsure and indecisive, waiting for him to be a man and make up his mind. It forces her to move into her masculine essence, which is not her true essence. She resents this weakness and will only become sweet, feel safe and comfortable again when her man steps up, makes decisive decisions, and acts like a leader again." Let's jump right into this guy's email. He says, "Hello, Corey. I really need your help with this girl I'm involved with. I would greatly appreciate any type of advice you can offer because I'm really going through a difficult time right now." He says, this story goes something like this. "I met this girl through my sister about 4 months ago at a small house party I was holding." Well, it's always nice when you have pretty women show up unexpectedly at your parties. And that's what, you've probably heard me say, like attracts like. It's go and do things that you love. If you have a lot of friends and you like to have parties and you like to entertain, you invite a lot of people that you know. The chances are that one of your friends, if you got girlfriends that you know, that doesn't mean you're actually sleeping with them and hooking up, but they're female friends of yours, you never know who they're going to bring with them. Or one of your buddies is going to bring his hot sister that you didn't even know he had. He says, "When I saw her, I could think nothing more but how beautiful she was and how I could envision myself spending time with her." And notice how it's like us guys are visual creatures. You look at her, it's like, wow, oh, she's it. And you're thinking about kids, you're thinking about relationship, you're thinking about all these things. But women, on the other hand, are just like, oh, he's kind of cute. I'll go out with him, see what happens. It's like two completely different approaches or mentalities. And it's helpful to understand that that's how us guys think, but also how women approach a first date, so you don't go overboard and literally chase her away. He says, I start talking to this woman, and eventually we exchange numbers. We date around for a little bit, and everything seems to be going fine, until one day she sends me a message over Facebook implying how she felt it just wasn't going to work. Instead of me accepting this reality, I began to pursue her and give way to a horrible game of cat and mouse, trying my best to get her to fall for me. Well, women fall in love slowly over time, and all this tells me is that you started pursuing too much and expecting too much, because just like that first statement that you mentioned, that I could envision myself spending time with her. So because you're thinking relationship, and she's thinking, hey, I just want to go out and see what happens, you start interacting with her in a way that makes her feel like she's going to lose her freedom, and you start over-pursuing. And so the reason that she texts you that, or she sends you that through Facebook, is that you're moving things too fast, too soon for her. And you got to understand, most women, they know how to read guys. They understand how things work, and 99% of the guys, this is exactly what they do. They talk women right out of liking them. They over pursue them to the point where you started acting just like every other stalkerish kind of weak, needy, insecure guy acts, and that's why she's bailing out before she gets too far down the road, to where you start showing up in her front lawn at 4 in the morning with a boombox over your head. I think the movie's called Say Anything, if I remember right. So he says, fast forward to, so if she would have texted me that it's not going to work, and I would have simply texted her back saying, well, I don't know, you didn't really say specifically what she said, so let me go a little further in his email here. He says, instead of me accepting this reality, Okay, so he says, fast forward this past week, 3 months later, and we started to get closer in regards to our relationship. Again, he's all focused on the relationship. The guy needs to be focusing on hanging out, having fun, and hooking up. Because typically what happens is you go out with a girl, and what I teach in my book is once a week. You start out once a week. So on week 1, you go out once. Week 2, you go out once. Week 3, you go out once. And usually week 2, week 3, that's usually when a woman will sleep with you, on average. That's just the reality. Those are the statistical numbers. Most women sleep with a guy after the second or third date. Now she starts to realize, as her attraction's growing, that you're just going to call her and go out once a week. And so what happens is a day or two after your last date, she'll start texting you or calling you, hey, I had a great time the other night. She's not going to ask you out, but what she's doing is putting herself into your orbit in hopes that you'll make something happen sooner. So in other words, it starts to kind of become her idea because her attraction level for you is growing, and so now she kind of wants to spend more time, but she's not going to be the aggressor and actually ask you out, but she's putting herself into your orbit in hopes that you'll do it. So when a woman reaches out to you and she says, I had a great time the other night, the way you should look at it and go, oh, she had a great time the other night, what she's really doing is hoping that I will ask her out again. And so what happens is after the third or fourth week, now you'll be seeing each other like twice a week. And when a girl starts texting you 2 or 3 times during the week, at like once after 1 or 2 days after each time you see her, you really don't even have to initiate contact anymore, because now you're just responding to her text or her phone calls and planning the next date and then getting off the phone. And then by week 5 or 6, you're seeing each other maybe 3 times a week. And when you hit week 7, which is usually, if you follow what I teach in my book, that's usually when she starts to fall in love and bring up the boyfriend-girlfriend talk. Now that's almost 2 months after the time that you met her, and that's a slow process, and you can't short-circuit it. But when you start doing all the pursuing and pushing things along, she never has that time away from you for her feelings to grow. So he says, she commits to me and everything is going splendid. He says, unfortunately, she ends up sending the same exact text that she sent a few times already over Facebook, that she feels it's not going to work and she's dealing with too much in her life right now to be involved in a relationship. What she's really saying is we're spending too much time together, and this feels like a relationship that I'm not emotionally ready for it. Again, because this guy has been fixated completely on a relationship from the get-go. He says this girl's 19 years of age, so now he starts rationalizing and making excuses why she's acting this way. She's acting completely normal, how any woman would act in this case. He says this girl's 19 years of age, so it's obvious she's going to be very immature and not used to having to deal with a relationship with a man. The problem is you're over-pursuing her and you're doing too much. He says, I've been nothing but good to this girl. I've never yelled at her, never put my hands on her, and I've literally been at her doorstep anytime she asks. He says, you're obviously a little too available too much, too soon. He says, I guess you could call me a real-life Forrest Gump chasing Jenny. Well, that's a bad... It's nice and cute in the movies that Forrest Gump was actually able to get Jenny, but in real life, Jenny would have thought, holy shit, Forrest, you're really fucking weird. You're a stalker. Don't ever call me again. That's what would have happened in real life. But it's cute in the movies. He says, the thing that confuses me the most about this girl is she literally changes her mind about me in a matter of minutes or hours. It's because you're like at her beck and call. It's like you're waiting on her hand and foot, and you're treating her like a celebrity. And that's why she's kind of jerking you around here. And plus you're over-pursuing. In essence, what's going on is you're acting like a woman instead of a man. That's why she's becoming unsure of herself. He says, one day everything could be perfect, and the next she's sending me a 3-paragraph message telling me how it's not going to work out. He says, I know I cannot fix this girl, but I honestly do feel if I pursue her long enough, she'll start to fall for me and believe I really am the man of her dreams. You have definitely watched way too many fucking movies, dude. It's like, you can't act like a... I know acting like a stalker in the movies always seems to work, but it doesn't work in real life. That's why she keeps... It sounds like you're doing okay for a little bit, and then you start trying to force things when you see that she backs away. And so what's going on is you're vacillating back and forth between acting like a man and acting like an insecure female stalker, if you will, and that's why she backs off. It's creepy. She's attracted to your strength, but when you act like a woman, she's going to back off and become wishy-washy and unsure. He says she never had any consistency in her life as her parents have done nothing for her, and every guy she's been with has either dumped her for someone else or made her chase them to the end. She obviously likes chasing guys. The problem is you're doing too much. You're pursuing too much. He says, I feel like offering a consistent foundation will allow her to open up and trust me. Again, you're rationalizing. You've watched too many movies and TV shows. He says, I know I'm being a fool for chasing this girl. You think? But I really love her to death and would do anything to be in her life. My question to you is, what should I do about pursuing her? Cut that shit out. Just go back to once a week. You call her once a week and you ask her out on a date. And you make a definite date and then you get the hell off the phone. Hang out, have fun, and hook up. Stop being focused and consumed with locking this girl down to a commitment. It's like the time is not going to expire. It's not a fucking video game. If you don't get the girl to commit to you within a certain period of time, it's like game over. But if you keep pursuing that way, it will be game over. Eventually, she will leave you for good, not want anything to do with you. He says, we are currently not on talking terms, and she's even removed me from Facebook. Should I chase her like Forrest? Come on, man. Seriously. Or let her come to me. It's like, you chased her right out of your life, dude. And now you would think more chasing, like in the movies, will actually make her want you? He says, do you think she'll come to me? Well, if she's blocked you from Facebook, the odds are definitely not good. Will she realize that that I was an amazing guy with her? If you were so amazing, she wouldn't have blocked you from Facebook for being a creep. He says, if so, how long should I wait on her? You should move on with your life, dude, and chalk it up to experience. Immerse yourself in my Kindle ebook. The new version is out, by the way, and you can download it by going to my website. And underneath the email sign-up box, there's a link that'll take you right to Amazon. He says, I made more progress pursuing her than I have just letting her be. Really? You call getting blocked on Facebook and not being on talking terms making progress? Come on, dude. Seriously, put the fucking crack pipe down. He says, we went from hugging about 2 weeks ago to kissing every time we saw each other. I'm so confused. Please help me. Well, this is what I would do. Nothing. If she ever reaches out to you in the future, which is probably not likely, hey, babe, great to hear from you. I'd love to see you when you're free to get together next. Make a date. Hang out, have fun, and hook up. And after she leaves your place in the morning, you simply say, call me later. And if 3 or 4 days go by and she calls you or texts you, assume she wants to see you, make the next date. And let her slowly come back to you. But you've done all this stalking and it hasn't worked, so it's like, what's the definition of insanity? It's doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. That's what you need to do if I were you. But if you keep pursuing her and stalking her, the next step would be getting a restraining order against you. It's like, come on, man. It's like you're just totally ignoring reality here. So if you'd like to get my help personally, the quickest way to get my help is to book a paid phone coaching session. You can do that by going to my website, click the Products tab at the top of your screen, and just follow the instructions for booking a paid phone session with yours truly. And I will talk to you soon.